In one of the hottest battles for Rookie of the Year in quite some time, Cooper Flagg and Kon Knueppel battling to the final week of the season. Who is the NBA's Rookie of the Year? We're going to discuss that today with our All City Network teammate, of course, co-host of the All NBA podcast with this guy, Adam Mara. As a former Dallas Maverick legend, of course, he is the homie Tim Legler. Tim, what's going on?
What's happening? I'm good. You're right. I agree with you, by the way. This is one of the more difficult, I think, Rookie of the Year decisions that we've seen in a long time. And it's going to be very interesting to see the different criteria that the voters put to this, because I do think you can subjectively look at it and what's most important to you or what you think should carry the most weight. I do have a vote in this, and so it's and I'm still kind of weighing it all myself.
So let's get into it, because these two, in terms of Cooper Flagg and Kon Knueppel, have had historic years. Cooper Flagg averaging over 21 points per game, scoring 96 points in a 2-game span. The first rookie to do that since Wilt Chamberlain, who did it 5 times during his Rookie of the Year, if you can believe that. And, of course, Kon Knueppel leading the NBA in three-pointers made, has been flirting with 50, 40, 90 throughout the course of the year, a historic rookie shooting efficiency season for him. Let's start with our guy, though, in Cooper Flagg. You saw what he did against the Orlando Magic with the 51 points. He backed it up in a 45-point effort in a win against the Los Angeles Lakers. What makes his case so strong, given what he's had to not only deal with this season, but the numbers and the amount of stat stuffing that he's been doing, regardless of who's been on the floor with him?
Well, first, I want to tell you that I wouldn't have needed to see those performances, because I saw Cooper Flagg enough, either watching him from afar or in person. And even the night we saw him play against Houston, and just was basically the best player on the floor that night. And it just was able to contextualize how good this guy is at this age, and how complete of a player, how versatile, his size and the things that he can do offensively. So I didn't even need to see these games here late to kind of already know what he is. But it does feel a little bit to me like Cooper Flagg at one point, I think, clearly was the front runner for the award. It almost looked like a foregone conclusion. And then he got hurt. He missed a little bit of time. And then also Dallas sort of, went in a different direction in terms of what their season was going to be about. They're not really trying to win at an active level every night. So up to that point, it was clearly like he was the front runner. It was his award to win. And then what happened was, about the time he went out was when Charlotte was surging. And so people started kind of taking notice of this team, this young team, and all of a sudden they're just finding themselves, and they're super fun, very entertaining team. And now it's actually translating into winning. It's not just about flair. It's substance there. And Kon Knueppel is playing a huge role in that, and the consistency that he was playing with. And I think also doing more offensively than people thought he could. Because he's not just a catch and shoot guy. He moves well without the ball. He puts it down well. He guards well. He's a very good rebounder. You started to see his all-around game. So those two things were happening exactly the same time. And to where it got to the point, it just felt like in the narrative and the conversation, and me being in NBA arenas all the time, and you're talking to people about different things, it kind of felt like, man, it really shifted in the direction of Kon Knueppel. So what happens? He continues to play well, and they continue to be relevant. But Cooper Flagg comes back with a vengeance. He wants to finish this year out with a bang, and just sort of remind people of the ceiling that he has. And that, to me, I think some people are going to play into this award. So he's finishing the right way. But Kevin, I think it comes down to a couple things. I think there's two different schools of thought on this. I think some of it is, just sheer numbers, and that should matter, obviously. Some people just look at it and go, well, Cooper Flagg is got the higher ceiling. He's the better all-around player and has the numbers to back it up. Knueppel's got great numbers, not quite as high a ceiling as Cooper Flagg. So that would tip it in Cooper Flagg's direction. But then there's a whole other school of thought that goes, well, wait a second, though. Kon Knueppel's playing meaningful games every night. And that should matter. And to me, it should matter, too. That should carry some weight. Anybody that says that doesn't matter at all, I don't get your thinking, because it's harder to do what he's doing on a team that's playing for something every night. It just is. The minutes, the opportunities, Like it's just less typically for rookies on teams that are playing to win. And so you got to give the guy credit. He's cracked the code. He's a major piece of this. And there's just the pressure that comes with it, the scrutiny that comes with taking meaningful shots. That should matter. So that's kind of the argument in the Knueppel camp. And I think that there's weight to be had for both of those, which is why this is going to be a very close race.
When we typically look at the rookie of the year race, normally we don't necessarily account for winning. The race that continues to kind of remind me of what we've been watching between Kon Knueppel and Cooper Flagg reminds you a little bit of the 2003 race between LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony, where Carmelo Anthony's team and the Nuggets had better team success, while LeBron James was playing on a bad Cavs team while still putting up tremendous numbers. LeBron ultimately won that award in 2003. Where, of course, Carmelo Anthony's team and the Nuggets wound up going to the postseason. We know what the kind of career trajectories both of them wound up having. Great careers, but obviously LeBron James has had the better of career. How much do we should take account winning into this, or is it something that is just so unique given this particular race that it's become a factor based on what's happening between these two? And Cooper Flagg and Kon Knueppel?
I just don't think you can dismiss it, that it doesn't matter at all. Like for any person to think that a dude that, let's say in like another year, I'll just randomly throw out numbers, like a guy that averages 18, 19 points a game on a team that wins 16 games, and from day one, because they're not good enough to have, number one, people in front of him in the rotation that you've got to beat out, that it's just given to you from the beginning. You're playing 30 minutes every night, given the ball, you're allowed to grow faster into the pace of the game, the size, how quickly things are happening. It happens for you faster because you're playing more, because there's no consequences associated with each possession. How people can dismiss that as not being a factor in it, and look at a guy that is maybe numbers aren't quite as good, but has cracked the rotation, or is a starter, or he's playing heavy minutes and taking meaningful shots on a team that's every night there's consequences in the fourth quarter. Like I don't know how anybody could just dismiss that. So it is, for the most part, has been historically a numbers-based award. Just flat out. Get in the league, put up numbers as a rookie, who's got the best numbers. And if you're trying to determine between two guys that are close, maybe then you put a little more weight on the winning. Okay? For me, it should carry more weight than maybe most people give it. And I've always felt that way. This isn't something new now that I'm like voting for the award. I've always considered that. Like, man, that's tough to do. Come into a situation where there's consequences every night, and you're a rookie, and you're like asked to do a lot of things that matter and affect your ability to win as a team, as opposed to just go out there playing free and, it doesn't really matter that much if you win a game tonight. I do think that should carry some weight, but I also think there has to be something to just eye test of the amount that's on their plate as a player. And I don't think anybody would consider there be as much on Kon Knueppel's plate offensively and the importance of just his team and creating and like setting the table as it does with Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg clearly has more on his plate. Like, they put the ball in his hands to decide games, even though they're not, caring as much as they win. Like, that's the role he has because of his talent level. Knueppel fits perfectly with the guys around him, but it's not quite as elevated, the importance. So I think, to me, the eye test says that Cooper Flagg has clearly got the higher ceiling, I think, overall, and what they're going to be 5 years from now. And the numbers back it up, and he's had a little bit more responsibility. I think it gives him, like a slight advantage in the award. But I do think, just everybody I'm talking to, this is going to be really tight. It's not going to be what we thought it was going to be back maybe on January 1st.
Sure. And Cooper Flagg has continued to put up ridiculous numbers. I mean, the 51 points that he scored, becoming just the 10th rookie in NBA history to score at least 50 points in a game, and only the third since the merger. Obviously, the 45 points plus that he had against Orlando with the 51 in total that he had, joining Michael Jordan as the only rookies to have multiple 45-point games in a season. That's the kind of company that Cooper Flagg's been keeping this year. So as a voter, as we look at the final week of the season, what ultimately will decide it for you based off of what these two have put together? The sheer numbers that Cooper Flagg's been putting up, and obviously the contextual part with with Kon Knueppel doing what he's doing on a winning team. What ultimately for you will decide how this goes for you and your vote?
I think it's, for me, I think, and I think it's going to be pretty split. I'm not going to be shocked if Kon Knueppel wins the award. And as I'm sitting here, I haven't even fully made up my mind yet because I'm kind of processing it all. And we still have a few games to play, and I'm watching all of it, man. I want to take it to the end and make the best decision I can. I think for me, like watching Cooper Flagg, like at his best, and you're just looking at what this guy represents. He represents a guy that is the type of player you build around going forward, and you think as your best player, this is a team that can contend down the road. And he has shown that type of skill level, that type of talent, that type of athletic ability, difference maker on both ends of the floor. His overall, I guess, just ceiling and versatility to me have sort of stood out. Like this is the number one talent in this class. But again, I can't say you can just dismiss a guy putting up the numbers that Knueppel is on a team that's playing relevant games every night. I think that carries a lot of weight, and that's why for me, this is very much neck and neck and undecided as we head down here to stretch of the season. And fortunately for Cooper Flagg, it's not good. It's not based on the postseason. Because right, that would give Kon Knueppel even more chance to make his case. Because if he gets into imagine if whatever Cooper Flagg wins the award, the votes are cast, and when the season ends, you don't know what's going to happen in the postseason, and then Kon Knueppel goes off, like they play the Celtics in the first round, whatever, and they take him to 7 games, and Knueppel averages 25 a game and puts up big numbers. Like some people that might have voted for Flagg will second guess themselves. So fortunately for Cooper Flagg, it's going to end after the regular season. So all things are equal at that point, and I just think it's a coin toss for me. It's a coin toss, but you wonder if you flipped it 10 times, would 6 of those fall in one direction or the other? And a slight edge to the guy that was the number 1 pick in the draft for a reason, and a guy that is a generational type of talent. And Kon Knueppel has surprised me personally with what he's capable of doing offensively in this league this quickly. I'm very surprised by it. Give him all the credit in the world. And I think one of the things that's going to jump out is the guy leads the league in three-pointers made, and he has made more threes per game this year than I think Steph Curry did the first 7 years of his career. Pretty incredible stuff out of Kon Knueppel.
Yeah, and I'll get you out of here on this because you started to touch on something I think is very interesting here. Is it wanted to be on the right side of history when it comes to this particular award? Because you talked about the ceiling of Cooper Flagg and what he's going to be in the next 5 years versus Kon Knueppel, maybe have a little bit lower ceiling. Is it some of the idea of like, hey, I want to be on the right side. Cooper Flagg is the rookie of the year versus Kon Knueppel, who may quote unquote have a better year in terms of some of the numbers. Is there some of that factoring in for maybe some voters who are looking at this award too?
Yeah, I do think that. Yes, I do think. And again, when you're talking about two guys that if you feel like it's close, then you start to go to these other little criteria. And that's one actually to consider. Looking 7-8 years from now down the road, and ultimately what their pecking order in the league and their status in the league and where these guys are. And if you think Cooper Flagg can ascend to places that Kon Knueppel can't, does that factor into you? Like, hey man, there's no wrong answer here. So why not go with the one where you think this guy 7 years from now, you can look back and say, yeah, I voted for him for rookie of the year. And now he's first team all league. So I do think maybe some of that could play into it. What's interesting to me, I was just thinking about this before I came on with you, is why is this so important? And I'll tell you why. Because going forward, both of these guys have long careers. Hopefully they stay healthy. They got, who knows, at least 15 years, right? They got opportunities for all-star games. They've got opportunities for all league. Who knows? I mean, opportunities for MVP eventually down the road. You hope so, where these guys were selected. You're going to get multiple opportunities in seasons to do that. You only get one shot at this.
Mm-hmm.
You only get one shot at this. And when you put that resume together, and both of these guys want to be all-time greats, when you put that resume together at the end, and you look back with perspective on what their career was, this is the only crack they get at rookie of the year. And so it's really important for both of these guys, I think, to put that trophy on their mantle, because you're not going to get another opportunity to revisit this. This is going to be it, and I think that's why it is such an important award for two guys that have had historically great rookie years.
That's a perfect way to end it. It's a great rookie of the year race battle between two fantastic players. We believe our guy here in Dallas should get the nod for the rookie of the year, but we will see as the final week of the season takes place. Tim, it's always good to see you. Appreciate all the work that you do with us here at the All City Network, and of course on ESPN as a game and in-studio analyst. Look forward to watching you not only during the rest of this regular season, but during the postseason as well, as you get ready to call your first NBA Finals. So looking forward to seeing how the playoffs unfold for you. It's always good to talk to you, my man. Thank you so much for the time.
Appreciate you. Anytime. Talk to you soon.